Just outside Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, stands a hulking set of structures that helped build America.
On the side of the road, there is this crazy abandoned igloo.
Places built with purpose can feel haunting once that purpose fades. Hotels without guests, theme parks frozen mid-disaster, bunkers waiting for wars that never came, each holding echoes of ambition, fear, and unfinished dreams. Tonight, we descend into 12 of the most unusual abandoned places on Earth, each one a reminder that the world forgets quickly, but buildings remember everything. Number 12, Igloo City, Alaska. Igloo City looks like a roadside hallucination, a 4-story concrete igloo rising from the Alaskan wilderness, built to lure travelers who never arrived. Construction began in the 1970s, but the moment inspectors walked inside, the dream collapsed. The walls were out of code, the windows too small, the structure unsafe. Work stopped instantly, and no owner since has managed to resurrect it. Today, the shell sits by the highway like a frozen promise, wind humming through its empty frame. Urban explorers slip inside to find timber bones holding up a giant that never woke. And its location reveals an even stranger twist. Igloo City once sat on the proposed Alaska Intertie rail extension, positioning it to be a major tourism gateway, until the project vanished, leaving the igloo stranded in time. Number 11, Agrasen Ki Baoli, India. Hidden behind modern shops and traffic, Agrasen Ki Baoli feels like a doorway into another century. Its 103 stone steps descend into an echo chamber where every footstep multiplies and shadows stretch unnaturally along the carved walls. Built hundreds of years ago to secure groundwater for Delhi, the stepwell became obsolete the moment mechanical pumps arrived. Since then, it has stood untouched, too beautiful to destroy, too impractical to use. Visitors describe an eerie stillness, as if the structure inhales the city's noise and exhales silence. And in British records, one detail stands out. The Baoli consistently measured over 5 degrees cooler than the surrounding streets, creating one of Delhi's most effective ancient passive cooling zones, long before science explained how it worked. Number 10, Okpo Land, South Korea. Okpo Land was once the pride of Jeoje Island, a brightly painted maze of rides, music, and duck-shaped roller coasters looping above the crowds. But its charm hid a dangerous flaw. In the 1990s, a duck car derailed, killing a rider. Authorities called it a freak accident, and the park pressed on without explanation. Then it happened again. Another duck slipped from the track, a young girl fell, and the owner fled overnight. The gates never reopened. Today, the rusted tracks still hold the derailed cart exactly where it stopped decades ago, frozen in mid-fall. And here's the chilling scale of its downfall. Tourism officials once predicted Okpo Land would surpass Everland as Korea's top theme park, making its overnight death one of Asia's steepest collapses. Number 9, Carey Furnaces, USA. Rising above the Monongahela River like the skeleton of an industrial titan, the Carey Furnaces once forged 1,250 tons of iron a day, fueling Pittsburgh's steel empire. When operations ceased in 1978, most of the complex was dismantled and burned, but the towering blast furnaces survived, too massive and too stubborn to fall. Nature crept in, graffiti artists followed, and the site transformed into an eerie cathedral of rust. Preservationists later realized these furnaces weren't just relics, they were technological milestones. During both World Wars, their output was so consistently pure that the United States military used the site to manufacture armor-grade steel, a metallurgical standard modern plants struggle to match without advanced computer modeling. Today, the structures stand preserved, monuments to ironwork that shaped a nation. Number 8, Phone Booth Graveyard, New York. Beneath a stretch of elevated railway in Manhattan, more than 100 phone booths rest in silent rows, once lifelines for a city constantly in motion. Now they stand gutted and rusting, their glass panels missing, their receivers long gone, like relics from a world that communicated more slowly. When mobile phones swept across New York, booths disappeared from sidewalks almost overnight, but no one expected them to reappear here, stacked like forgotten museum pieces. Photographers slip between them to capture the strange symmetry of obsolescence, neon reflections bouncing off metal frames. And among them sits history's quiet milestone, New York's final working public payphone, removed in 2022 and sent into storage, ending 143 continuous years of street corner telephony in the city that pioneered it. Number 7. The Hobbit House, Wiltshire. Tucked into the English countryside, the so-called Hobbit House rises like a forgotten fairy tale. Arched windows, rounded stone walls, and turrets that seem hand-sketched rather than engineered. Yet the entire structure was built by one man, Farmer Colin Stokes, who began with a simple plan for a hay barn and spiraled into an 11-year obsession. With no blueprints, no architects, and no machinery, he shaped every curve by hand, stone by stone. When a nearby quarry shattered the piece of his secluded masterpiece, he walked away, leaving the home suspended in its own mythology. What makes it even more extraordinary is its construction method. Nearly the entire building uses dry stone techniques rarely seen today, meaning it can theoretically stand for centuries, just like the region's ancient stone circles. Number 6. Pyramid of Tirana, Albania. In the heart of Tirana sits a crumbling monument that once symbolized absolute power. The pyramid was completed in 1988 to honor communist leader Enver Hoxha, its gleaming white exterior meant to project permanence and devotion. But within just a few years, Albania's political landscape collapsed, and the pyramid's fate unraveled with it. Attempts to repurpose the structure as a convention center, military post, and TV headquarters all failed, each tenant leaving new layers of neglect. Vandals claimed its slopes, and plants found their way through cracked panels once polished to perfection. Beneath the decay lies a staggering truth. The building consumed nearly 2% of Albania's entire annual GDP at the time, making it the nation's most expensive architectural project, an extravagant tribute that outlived the system it glorified. Number 5. Cape May Bunker, New Jersey. Half buried in the sand like a concrete giant, the Cape May Bunker was never meant to survive this long. Built in 1942 as a temporary wartime structure, it stood on wooden pilings driven deep into the beach, supports that should have buckled decades ago under 7-foot-thick concrete walls. But the bunker refused to collapse. Over time, the sea advanced, swallowing the space where visitors once walked beneath it, until the waves now crash directly against its entrance. Locals have grown up with it as a strange, immovable landmark, unaware of the firepower it once held. The bunker's original design housed 6-inch naval guns, capable of launching 105-pound shells more than 15 miles out to sea, making this overlooked relic one of America's most formidable coastal defenses. Number 4. Wolf's Lair, Poland. Deep in the Masurian forests, the Wolf's Lair was built to be invisible, an armored maze of bunkers, corridors, and camouflaged concrete where Hitler and his inner circle directed the war. Moss now blankets the ruins, trees pierce through fractured ceilings, and silence sits where commands once echoed. It was here, in 1944, that a suitcase bomb nearly altered history, wounding Hitler and triggering immediate paranoia. As Soviet forces advanced, the Nazis attempted to destroy the complex, but the explosions only scarred it, leaving massive blocks of reinforced concrete scattered like toppled monuments. What visitors rarely realize is just how fortified the site once was. More than 2,000 landmines formed defensive rings around the compound, making it one of the most heavily protected headquarters of the entire war. Number 3. Robert Bruno Steelhouse, Texas. Perched above Ransom Canyon like a grounded spacecraft, the Robert Bruno Steelhouse feels less built than forged. Sculptor Robert Bruno worked on it alone for 35 years, welding each curve of blackened steel by hand without blueprints or engineering support. The result is a structure that seems to float on 4 legs, its angular windows casting shifting shards of colored light across wooden interiors. Bruno envisioned pools, staircases, and suspended rooms, but his death in 2008 froze the home in an unfinished, otherworldly state. Step inside, and you're standing inside an artist's mind, raw, intricate, and unconstrained. Its most astonishing truth: the house contains more than 110 tons of hand-shaped steel, crafted entirely by intuition, a feat modern architects compare to building a small bridge from imagination alone. Number 2. Suisun Bay Reserve Fleet, California. Drifting in the fog off California's coast, the Suisun Bay Reserve Fleet looks like a ghost convoy, rows of decommissioned military ships waiting for orders that will never come. At its peak after World War II, more than 350 vessels sat here in perfect formation, ready to mobilize within 20 days if the nation required them. Decades of rust, budget delays, and environmental concerns slowly thinned their ranks until only a handful remained, their hulls streaked with decay and their decks long silent. Yet Suisun Bay became more than a storage site. Several ships, including early battleship relocations, were coated with experimental anti-corrosion compounds, unintentionally turning the bay into one of America's largest real-world materials science test beds. Today, each departing vessel leaves behind only its outline in the water. Number 1. The 7th Art Cinema, Sinai Desert. In the middle of the Sinai Desert, far from any town or road, rows of sun-bleached chairs face a blank screen, as if waiting for an audience that never came. French artist Dean Edel imagined this open-air 7th Art Cinema as a surreal oasis where film and landscape would merge. He assembled a massive projector, generators, and wooden seating for hundreds, preparing to inaugurate the venue with a showing of Jurassic Park in 1993. But without permits, the project was shut down the very night it was meant to debut, leaving everything frozen in anticipation. The desert reclaimed it piece by piece, wind carving the chairs and sand filling abandoned walkways. Even the projector was no ordinary machine. It was a refurbished French military-grade xenon system, capable of illuminating films for more than 1,000 viewers. Every forgotten structure began as someone's vision, ambitious, flawed, or fearless. Their stories linger in rust, stone, and silence, waiting for those curious enough to look closer. If you want more journeys into mysteries the world left behind, remember to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below.